Division One or NCAA Division One official. And he has really taken the time to kind of go over some of the things that I think all of you have concerns about. Either he's heard them as an athletic director, or it's things that Dana, myself, or Sally have mentioned to him that, and so he's taken it upon himself to kind of help in the training process. Everything that we go over in these sessions are definitely brought to the attention of the officials as well, so that everyone is learning and we're all improving on these things. So with that, I'll actually hand it over to Dana Pappas, and she can introduce Wilson a little bit more in depth.
Thanks, Nate. Before I do that, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay,
I sure can.
Awesome, thank you. All right, good evening again, and coaches, thank you for attending this evening's presentation. This is absolutely a topic that gets brought to our attention quite a bit, sometimes in the middle of a game. So we do hear a lot of questions about this particular topic. Wilson Holland, as Nate mentioned, is a Division I basketball official. He's also the Los Lunas Public Schools athletic director, so he wears a lot of hats. Wilson is somebody for the duration of my career who I've talked to about officiating, and he's helped me quite a bit as far as finding ways to continue to improve and train and educate our officials on the basketball side of things. So he's definitely a very well-respected colleague and advisor many times to the New Mexico Officials Association. I know Nate is also going to be helping with the presentation this evening, and Nate, while serving as my assistant, is also a Division I basketball official. He's on the women's side and Wilson's on the men's side, so there's a lot of knowledge between the two of them. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Wilson, and I'll make this actually look like a slideshow if I can figure out how to not break my computer, and we'll get started. There you go.
Dana, thank you again. Nate, thanks again for all that you do putting these presentations together, and Dana, obviously in your role facilitating the improvement, training, recruitment, and retention of officials. Very appreciative of that. And all the coaches, welcome for spending a little time with us tonight. We want to talk about our jump shooters and off the dribble, step back or sidestep travel. And the reason that we're addressing this is I'm in my backyard, a couple of years ago with my youngest son, and he's doing all his NBA moves and this and that, and he does the Harden step back, 2 more steps, jump shot. And me being a referee, I'm going, whoa, that's a travel. No, Dad, James Harden does it. They never call travel. Then they all do it in the NBA. So you coaches understand, and I'm preaching to the choir, everything kind of filters down. And it's filtering way down as I'm out and about on the not only refereeing basketball, but on the AAU circuit, watching kids play. And it's happening from grades 2 all the way up to the NBA. So we're going to address this. I've got 2 slides. It's going to be not only what is a travel, but how we can help you guys as coaches teach the step back properly so it's not a travel. And I think that's more important. How do we teach it correctly? And we're going to do the same for our officials, which we had a training last year. We had a training about the step back and sidestep travel, and our JD Collins, national coordinator, showed us about 40 clips, and 39 of them were travels, and only 1 was a legal play. So it has gotten better, but it's still in our game. To add to that, we need to distinguish between the high school and the NBA travel rule. The NBA has what's called a 0 step. You can correlate that 0 step to what we would have in our game as our plant step, our plant foot. So that plant step depending on how many feet we have on the ground or off the ground or first touching the ground, that becomes our pivot. In the NBA, that does not become their pivot. That's just their plant step. It's called the 0 step. After that, they can take 2 more steps. So that's where the rule difference. And that's why you can see what they do can get away with, because they're just abiding by their rules, and what we are not allowed to do, because that would be a travel in our game. And if you guys have any questions at any time, get in the chat, or just, unmute yourself, and Nate and I will try to address them. So before we get going with the 2 slides, the step back or the side step jump shot, it's just a reverse jump shot. I mean, excuse me, a reverse jump stop. Now, everybody, you guys are all great coaches, and you know how to teach the jump stop. If I jump off 1 and I have control of the ball, my dribble ended, and I land on 2, any foot can be the pivot foot. So the step back or the side step is just a reverse jump stop. So the same rules are going to apply whether you're doing a jump stop attacking the basket, or you're doing a jump stop retreating from the basket, because now you're a jump shooter. So hopefully you guys understand that, and that's what it is. And if we're able to get an understanding of that, then you guys will be able to teach that move properly, or you see your kids in practice doing it, and you can go, wait, that's a travel. That's not how that needs to be done. So let's go to that next slide. So we're just going to talk about the jump stop real quick, and I'm going to read through this. A jump stop is executed when the player catches the ball while moving or dribbling with, point 1 foot on the playing court, jumps off that foot, and lands simultaneously on both feet. So if you're like Wilson Holland, I've got to pause a little bit. Sometimes I put my 2 fingers down on the table, and I go, okay, 1 foot on the playing court, jump off that, lands on 2. Okay. Now, a jump stop is executed when the player catches the ball while moving or dribbling with 2 feet off the playing court. Remember, the first one said 1 feet on the playing court. So we have to be very cautious of the verbiage that's used. And this is 2 feet off the playing court. So you end your dribble and you have 2 feet off the playing court. Okay. You land on 1 foot. Okay. You jump off that foot and land simultaneously on both. It sounds crazy, but remember, if you read it from the beginning, this play was started with 2 feet off. So you were in the air, land on 1, come down on 2, no pivot foot. And the last one is a jump stop may also be executed when the dribbler has 1 foot on the playing court, initiates a jump off that foot into dribble. And we're going to talk about that. That's the key for referees, and that's going to be the key for you guys teaching this. When does the dribble end? Ends the dribble with both feet off the playing court and lands simultaneously on both feet. Either foot can be established as a pivot foot. So back to the last one. Again, the dribbler has 1 foot on the playing court, initiates a jump off that foot. Now, it says ends the dribble when both feet are off the playing court. So when they jump off that 1 foot, that means they were still dribbling. And the way to teach that is when I plant, if I'm dribbling with my right hand, I plant with my left foot. The dribble and the plant foot are happening at the same time, and I'm coming off my left foot into the air, and then I'm ending my dribble while I have both feet off the playing court. Once I do that and I land on both feet, okay, into dribble with both feet off the playing court and land simultaneously on both feet, then I'll still have a pivot foot. This is all predicated by when the dribble ends. It sounds complicated. We've got 6 plays we're going to show you, and you may have some questions there, but we go through this, we look at our game film, and we need to be better, not just this type of travel, but just one-on-one out front, post travels. We got to get better as officials of picking up the pivot foot. And that's what this is all about. So again, we're talking about what is illegal and how we can help you guys teach this correctly so the kids can do a step back, because the reason they're doing it is to get separation from that defender. So again, it's a great move if executed correctly. Next slide. Very important. We have to know when the dribble ends, and the dribble ends when the dribbler catches or carries or palm the ball by allowing it to come to rest in one or both hands. A lot of words there. We know when the dribble's in, when they stop dribbling, when they control the ball. They can control it with one hand, they can control it with two hands when it comes to rest. So as officials, and I wanted to throw this last piece in there because I think it's important. On plays where the location of the foot at the time of ending the dribble is uncertain, the benefit of the doubt should rest with the dribbler having made a legal play by ending his dribble with 2 feet off the floor. You guys just do such a great job coaching, and you guys also have an understanding. These kids are a lot better than we were when we were coming up because they have more resources. They're a lot faster and they're a lot stronger. They can do some skills now that we couldn't do at their age. And so it's important that for us as an official, we have an understanding of that. Again, things happen fast. And again, you guys are going to watch some plays and in full speed and be like, what's wrong with that? And then we're going to slow it down, kind of like when the coaches send clips in on us, right, Nate? They've slowed it down and they watched it. And, you know, there's a percentage of we're getting right, but we're getting wrong. So does anybody have any questions so far?
And before any questions, Wilson, I do want to, you talk about control, you talk about player control after the dribble, and some of the biggest mistakes we make as officials is determining whether a bobble or, control. So a bobble, we make this mistake all the time. Make sure that a bobble is not control. So if for whatever reason they're going to jump stop and there is a bobble and they lose control and they go and chase it down or whatever the case may be, that bobble is not control. So I know Wilson touched in a little bit on that. And so that's just kind of, and I don't think any of these plays that we're going to look at have that. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Hey, Nate, in your rule book, they call it a bobble. We call it a fumble.
Yeah, well, we call it a fumble as well. Yeah.
I'm just joking.
Dribble, fumble, whatever.
Right. Hey, that's it. Jess Martinez taught me that. Fumble, dribble, fumble. Yeah. So the first thing I want to say with these videos, the videos we're going to show, I've gotten permission from some of my referee buddies to use these videos. And this is for training purposes only, not meant to embarrass or degrade any official, player, coach, team, or institution. So I'm going to say that, and I do mean that. Again, this is for teaching and learning. So
do you have a specific play you want me to open up with?
No, you can just open up with one, and we'll take a look at it, and we can have coaches if they have any questions about it.
And let's make sure we can see it first. You good?
Yeah.
And I'll get that bar out of the way.
And all these are going to be off the dribble with jump shooters.
You can't see that?
Yeah.
All right. We'll play it.
So can you slow that down?
Yep.
So what happens on this play, and run it back, Nate, and stop it when you deem that the player ends his dribble. Right there, the ball comes to the rest, and you can see that the right foot is still on the floor. So if a player ends his dribble with one foot on the floor, which foot's the pivot foot? That right foot. So what he does is he picks up this pivot foot. There's the pivot foot right there, picks it up, and then he puts it back down. That's a travel. Now, if he would have went from 1 to 2, jumped off 1 and landed on 2, he would have been fine. But he jumped off 1, landed on 1, and then brought the other one back down. You can't pick your pivot foot up and put it back down before you pass, shoot, and or dribble. Of course, he can't dribble again because he lost his dribble. Is there any questions about that? He goes left, that's his plant foot, which becomes his pivot foot, right, or excuse me, he goes right, pivot foot, left, back on the floor, picks up his pivot foot, which is right, and brings it back and puts it on the floor. So he established the pivot foot, picked it up, and put it back down before he did anything else with the ball. That's a travel. Any questions?
And
Anything
I
you
can't
want to add,
see the
Nate?
chat. No, I can't see the chat. Dana, you have the chat?
There is nothing in the chat.
All right.
Nice. Everybody's picking it up. Next play. And I think I showed you that Nevada play. It's going to have two angles. And I think I sent both of them to you. But whatever you pull up, you pull up.
Can you see that one?
Now we can, yeah.
Okay. And let me get your box out of the way.
Okay.
So there you go. That should be good.
And it'll be down here in the corner where all the rowdy Gonzaga fans are. So same thing, happened so quick. There's the plant foot, dribble ended with this right foot being his pivot foot because it's off the floor. Then he steps back with this left foot, then he picks his right foot up, brings it back on the floor, and takes a shot. This play is illegal. This should have been a travel. It's one plant, two, and another one, which is the third step, becomes a travel. It's so fast, though, we're not going to split hairs. Remember, we're watching this in slow motion. Coaches send plays like this in, and because they've watched it in slow motion. We just got to do a better job of, we've got to figure out when the dribble ended. Did it end when he was on the floor? So yes, right foot's the plant or the pivot foot, steps back with the left, brings it right back, puts it back on the floor. He picked up his pivot foot, put it back on the floor. That's a travel. Right, left, right. It's real subtle and it's real quick.
Okay. Any questions on that play? Yes. Easy
Nothing in
group.
the chat again.
Hey, we're going to be out of here. I'm going to get to go watch the Gonzaga BYU second half.
Yeah. All right, let me share. Well, what am I doing? Basic. Let's make sure you can see that one.
Now we
You
can.
good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a timeout, won't take it. 3 seconds. Sherfield for the win. Knocks it down with 0.8 to go.
Run it back. Did you guys all see the score and the time? Can you move your bar, Nate?
Yeah.
82-82, 5 seconds left in the game. And I'm going to put this in perspective for you guys. This is your semifinal game in the state tournament. Winner goes on. For these two guys, they're trying to get a higher seed in the conference, or if someone gets a win, then the committee is going to let them go to the tournament. Again, this is not degrading or embarrassing any official. This official let me use this play because we're pretty much good friends. And but it's a tough play and it's so quick. And I'll tell you this, at this point in time in the game, that was probably not the first thing that was on our mind. We're looking at point of contact, which is a foul, and probably an obvious travel second. So we'll slow it down and walk through it. When the dribble ends, right there, the dribble ends with his left foot on the ground. Gonna step right, boom. Gonna step left again. That's a travel.
Now, Wilson, explain, and I mean, this is completely it would have been an awkward shot, but had he taken that step to the right, lands with his right, and never puts that left down and shoots, legal or illegal?
Legal. And if you'd have stepped off that foot and landed on both feet, it would have been legal. Because you can jump off one and land on two. Remember, if you're teaching a jump stop, you can jump off one and land on two. This is just a jump stop. But what he did is he jumped off one, landed on one, and then landed on a third one. That is illegal per the rules.
So as an official, and you know, and I'm talking to Wilson, kind of help you kind of understand the discussion that Wilson and I are going to have on this play. You know, I'm simply going to ask him, one, we're going to talk about when did he actually gain control? When did he end his dribble? Wilson, at what point in this play do you think that we end the dribble? And that, and then we're going to go frame by frame on this play and really discuss and dissect why we believe, because that's important, and so now we're going to discuss, what are we looking at? Where are we looking at in this situation? We understand, and he explained right now we're looking at point of contact, we're looking at fouls. We're making sure that there is no illegal contact with 3.5 seconds, but we can't forget all the other things that we have to officiate in this moment. And so that would be the process. I think that Wilson and I, if he's the center official and I'm the trail official, I think we're having a good hour discussion just on this play alone.
This illegal move creates an advantage for the offensive player to gain separation from a defender who's closing out, who's playing really good defense. And the illegal move creates an advantage and allows this person to score. So again, we can't allow anything illegal that creates an advantage. If it's not in the rules, we need to have to whistle on that. Any questions?
Wilson, I'm going to be the first to ask a question because I haven't asked a question in a year and I haven't seen you guys, and I appreciate you all doing this. My question isn't so much on the move. I'm looking at both officials, the sideline and then the trail official. They're both looking at the play. Who is responsible to make the call? Can either one of those guys make it?
So great question. And I'm going to say this. This is the center, the one that's on the sideline. This is his primary responsibility. But Wally, if you notice, there's 2 seconds left in the game, right? There ain't no other plays. So this could be a 2-referee play. And yeah, you would have to have some courage to come over there and blow that whistle, which I've seen this happen before. And I would say, yes, this could be a 2-referee play. But he needs to be 100% sure that he picked it up early enough to make sure it was an illegal play. But yes, he could blow his whistle. Absolutely.
And the only reason why I'm saying it's because he has a clear view of his feet, and there's that number 4 is not in his way. So both officials have a clear view of the move. So I'm just saying, because sometimes at the high school level, you talk to an official and they say, well, it's not my area. And that's where, as a coach, you get kind of like, well, but both of you guys are looking at the same play. Why, and if you have a better angle, then why can't you make that call? That's the frustration sometimes, is when they tell you that that's not my area.
Absolutely. And this is I believe our 3rd webinar, and that has been brought up each time. And I'm glad it's been brought up each time, because that gives Nate, myself, and Dana more information. So when we do have the conversation with our officials before the season gets started, hey man, we're going to have a season. Yay. We can bring that up about, quit saying that's not my area, or, and I'll tell you this, the official on this side, NCAA tournament official, I worked with him the next night, and we talked about it, and he said he didn't notice the travel, but after this play, they went to review an out of bounds because there was some time they needed to put back in the clock, and they went to look at the monitor, and they just both dropped their heads because they all knew they missed the travel. So, but Wally, to answer your question, I feel at the end of the game, when there's only 1 play left, we need to have 4 eyes on that play, and we need to discuss that. So yes.
Yep. And Wally, and really the discussion, and Wilson's absolutely right. We as officials need to stop saying that's not my area. We just need to simply say I didn't see it. And saying that it's not my area is 100% a cop out, because technically it's not my area. And so it's easier for me to say it's not my area than it is to say I just didn't see it, and I think that goes a long way. And I think you might appreciate that a little more than if, because on this play, I'm trying to put myself in the trail position, which is this gentleman here. And I'm trying to, in a situation like this, nerves are going. It's a tied ball game, 2.7 in a semifinal. I'm looking for contact as well. And I guarantee you, and I can't say guarantee, but I would imagine that neither one of these officials is looking at the shooter's feet. They're looking at contact. So if you, Wally, ask me, well, didn't you see the travel? And I'm the trail official. My response needs to be, Wally, I missed it because I was looking for contact, or Wally, I didn't see his feet. But to say that it's not my area is true, but it's not. I mean, I think that's the cop out. I mean, 90% of the time, it's just we didn't see it.
But that goes to my second question, and you kind of hit it, Nate. Right now, it seems to me that the officials are looking at number 4, Colorado State guy, because he has his hand up. So, but I'm just saying, majority of the time, you're looking upper body to see if there's any contact, and you kind of have to have peripheral vision to be able to see the feet and your hands at the same time. And I just think most people are just fixated on one thing, and that's the shooter, where he's shooting the ball, not so much his feet.
These guys,
Absolutely.
they lost their training. We're taught to go referee from the floor up, and we didn't. And all three of these guys on this crew are NCAA guys, and they know that. And we just lost focus for a second, and it didn't end up good for us. But Wally, you're right. We referee from the floor up. First of all, we're going to referee the defender. Okay, we see the defender's legal. All we have to worry about is he going to close out, or is he going to make contact during the closeout? But before that, we've got to find the feet. If that guy's still dribbling or that girl's still dribbling, we need to make sure that every move they do is legal. And you're right, we have to be able to see the defender, but we've got to make sure when this dribble ends, because what's going to happen? It's 5 seconds left. This cat's shooting the ball. He ain't doing anything else but shooting the ball. So we got to make sure he ends his dribble correctly. He doesn't travel, and then we can go to point of contact. So we didn't follow our protocol. We left the feet and we went straight to point of contact. We left one of our teaching sequences out, which was referee from the feet up, and we went straight up and we missed a trap. So yeah, great point. And we'll make sure that our officials understand that here in the next week or two when we meet with them. Any other questions or comments? And coaches, please provide us with some comments or suggestions or some things you would like us to discuss with our officials. Because as Nate and Dana will tell you, man, we just want to make them better. And the only way we can make them better is hear from you guys.
Well, Nate, before you guys go to the next slide, I do, because I've been asking this question many years, and maybe some of you guys have heard it, but it's not so much off the dribble. It's when a player receives the ball and he gives you that 1-2 step. Okay, you go 1-2, you're supposed to shoot it, but he goes 1-2 and then he's putting the ball on the floor. I need to know, is that legal, or is that a travel?
So I'll answer that. The rule is once you receive the ball with 2 feet on the floor, you haven't established a pivot foot yet. But once I take a jab step or whatever you guys are teaching, Wally, that other foot that's planted is the jab, is the pivot foot. I can't pick that up until I release the ball on the dribble. The ball doesn't have to be on the floor, but I have to have it released before I can pick that foot up.
So if I'm going right foot, if I'm the receiver at the top of the key, I go with my right foot first and then my left foot. I'm at a 2-foot jump stop right now, correct?
Right. You caught the ball. You haven't established a pivot yet, is what you're telling me.
But I went 1-2. I went right foot and then left foot.
And did you bring your right?
The jump stop.
You mean while you're catching the ball or after you caught the ball?
When you're catching the ball, you go 1-2.
That goes back to that one slide I told you. Those things are real close. So we have to be careful on that of when he actually caught the ball. But I understand what you're saying. Sometimes you're catching it on the pass, and we could go back to that slide, and it talks about receiving the ball while moving, and you catch it, and you happen to go 1-2. That definitely could be a violation.
But you have to
absolutely. But we have to.
You can't put the ball back on the floor, can you?
It could be a violation. I would have to see a play. We have some plays like that.
Okay.
I wish Yeah, I wish we'd have had some so we can take a look at it. Or if you have some, you can send to us and ask us.
And I'm just saying the high school level, Wilson, you and Nate, I'm saying more so
Same
than the
rules.
college.
Same rules, Wally.
a
High school
lot.
and college are the same rules. They're not different, other than a restricted area and some other stuff that we can go to the monitor. But floor violations are all the same from high school to college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And definitely, Wally, I mean, we would love to, if you have some of those plays, Wilson and I would love to get back to you on those, just because it's hard to explain, or I kind of understand what you're asking, but I definitely want to be able to see that. And I think Wilson as well.
And I'll come out there, Wally. I'll have my mask on and I can come out there and stay 6 feet from you and you can demonstrate it and we can talk about it.
Well, do you think on you guys' mask this year that you guys could put like a number on the side or your name so we kind of know who you are?
Hey, if I was still refereeing,
I can't see your face because you got a mask on. Just kidding.
We'll take that under consideration, Coach.
Thanks, Dana.
Good suggestion.
I was thinking about refereeing high school with a Michael Myers mask on. So thanks, Wally.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, ready?
Yeah. Okay, run it back again. So he comes off 1, lands on 2. That's legal. 1, 2. And again, we're not going to go slow motion where one hit maybe a thousandth of a second before the other one. But if it's real good on a 1-2, 1, keep running it, 1-2, right? That's so close right there that we're not going to put a whistle on that. We believe that's illegal. That's a legal backwards jump stop.
And you gotta look at the control on this too, Wilson. I don't know if he truly, when he steps back with that right, I don't know if he's actually gained control. You know, he's just ending his dribble as he's coming off that right foot.
So again, you're right. And I was going to get to that point. Now, when you guys want to teach the correct way to do that, to do the reverse jump stop, if you run this back again, Nate, we feel the only way you could probably do this, you could probably do it if you're dribbling right hand, but it's really hard. He has the ball in his left hand away from the defender. He's going to step hard with his plant foot to get that separation. And when his plant foot, I know you guys can't see me, but his plant foot is on the ground, the dribble's on the ground at the same time. So when he lifts his foot up, the dribble hasn't ended yet. The dribble's going to end really when he's back on his right foot. So he could actually bring that, or when it's on his left foot, so he can actually bring that right foot back and have not traveled. That's the proper way you teach that. So with this play right here, because he hasn't ended his dribble with the right foot, run it again, Nate. And Nate made a good point. I wish we had another angle of this. Dribble actually ends. The dribble actually ends, if you want to say it ended, when both feet are still off the ground. So either foot, he could land on 1 or he could land on 2, but he would not have traveled. But the good thing is he ended the dribble with no feet on the ground, that's how you can teach that step back. I plant with my right foot, the dribble's on the ground at the same time, the dribble's coming up off the floor, so is my foot, and I'm stepping back at the same time. Now I can go, my back foot now becomes my pivot foot, and I can bring my right foot back until you can get a 1-2. So great point, Nate. But that's how you would teach the step back.
All right, let's open up this next one. All right, we're good here.
Oh, this is the same play from that Nevada game, just a different angle, but go ahead and run it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you can clearly see that he ends his dribble with his right foot off the ground. So anyway, yeah, same play.
Okay. Stop share. I think this is the right one. Yep. Good.
All right, the Bahamas action.
All right, let me shut this down. Boom. Okay.
Hey, what do you guys think about this play? Running full speed again. We're not going to take a poll or anything, but if you guys got any comments.
Well, it looks like he took an extra dribble.
First off, I want to comment the fact that you officiating's taking you to the Bahamas.
Well, we
One
still got
day.
a referee. Sometimes we forget. It's a nice high school gym, huh?
Oh yeah.
Nobody cares. So break it down for me, Nate.
All right. So one, we're looking at control. And in this play, I want to know, when did the ball handler control? Is that control? Not quite. Dribble? Do we have control there? I think so. We have control with the right foot down, left foot down, still legal. Right foot back down. We have our travel. So remember, they can lift their pivot foot, which would be, in this case, if I determine in my judgment, I believe that if this is control, then that right foot is the pivot. Now it is absolutely legal to lift that right foot, which this ball handler has, or this shooter has. And actually, and then I'm going to actually go, because now once that right foot comes back down, now if in my judgment, I believe that the control actually happens here, then this is my left foot, and then my left foot becomes my pivot. So right foot down, and he actually takes a jump stop to his left with his pivot foot, up and down, that becomes the travel.
So absolutely.
So in both cases, if you determine that the control happens with his right foot down, left foot, right foot down, travel. If you believe that left foot control, left foot's up and left foot's back down, that's our travel.
Now I'm gonna run it a different way. If you believe that, go ahead and run it through. If his left foot is his pivot foot right there, and he jumps off that, keep running it. He jumps off that left foot, lands on 2. Is that legal? You guys think that's legal? So go back to you guys teaching jump stops, attacking the basket. Can I jump off 1 while I'm jumping towards the basket and land on 2? Absolutely, I can. No different if I'm going to the side or to the back. If I jump off 1, and that foot I jump off is when I have control, and that's my pivot foot, I can jump off 1 and land on 2. Tough play. That didn't happen exactly like that, and we missed it.
But the other tough play, Wilson, is that, again, as an official, not only you're looking at his feet, but you're also got to determine, when does he bring that left hand to gather the ball?
When did the dribble in? You're absolutely right, Wally, and we have to get better at that. And it's tough. These kids are really good, and you think they're going to end the dribble, and all of a sudden they're still going. So yeah, we just got to get a better look at that.
And I believe that is all 6, Wilson. And really, ultimately, coaches, I think that in fact, one of our soccer officials our soccer district clinic, our clinician pretty much said, you show a little grace. And I think that these plays, Wilson said that they put up 40 plays and 38 of them were travels, no calls, correct?
Yeah,
No calls.
back when it first came, when everybody started doing it, there was 40 plays we watched and 39 of them were illegal. That was 2 years ago. So we've gotten a little better.
And definitely the training. Me personally, I think I love this one today just because I'm terrible. I'm terrible at picking up feet. I'm terrible at picking up control. I mean, I'm looking for the elephant in the room, and that's the illegal contact. But again, this is part of the game, and this is something that we have to get better at. And we're just quite frankly, we're not very good at it. And especially at the high school level, we're just not very good at it. And we're not good at picking up pivot foot and control. And I hope that, we can spread some of this knowledge to the high school officials so that they at least start thinking about that process. Because I know that just in our discussion this week, Wilson and I, and over the last few months, this has really been and at all levels, this has really been a big thing because we as officials aren't very good at it. And so show a little grace as we try to get through the learning curve, but definitely it's okay to remind us as well, because, just a little Wally, hey, watch the pivot or watch the control, use that type of terminology, and that's going to make me think versus get upset. While you yell, you missed the travel. Well, I mean, how many times have I heard that today? Whereas, hey, Nate, can you pick up the pivot foot? Or, hey, are they controlling? Or are they, use some of that verbiage that really helps me start processing the thought process of, Wally's right. I need to start watching the pivot foot. Or, when did that player gain control or in their dribble? And so those are the things that help me when communicating with coaches.
I'll make a couple points real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times tonight did you rewind something and it took us 5-6 times to actually see what happened? Whereas in real game time, you guys have to make a decision right away. So you don't have instant replay. And so that is going to be very difficult for officials to pick up. Now, my suggestion would be, let's say in the first half, this particular individual did it 3 times. And then maybe at halftime, you guys are going and saying, hey, we need to kind of watch, the pivot, because unless about players, the particular moves they make, you're not going to know until you see it. But in the first half, like I said, if this player is doing this a lot, then at halftime, you guys can have that conversation and say, well, we need to look at it a little bit closely, I think.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And we do that. And I'll tell you this, you guys do such a great job with huddle video and whatever you have now with scouting. Come second part of the district season, you guys know who does what. And there is nothing wrong with going up and saying, hey, Wilson, 32 from, and I'm not picking nobody, I'm just throwing a team out there. 32 from Los Lunas, he travels with the ball. Please take a look at that. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. You may be bringing it to our attention because the majority of the time, you guys are going to actually watch more film on teams you're playing than we are. And whether it is a travel or not, you're just providing us with information. But at all levels, we are not very good at this, and it is what we call an MOC, a major officiating concern for us. And I had a pretty good year this year, but I got an evaluation back from JD Collins about a month ago on a game, and I had 4 NCIs. That means no call correct. I didn't blow my whistle, and I should have because there was something there. And guess what 3 of them were?
Travel.
Travels. Because I didn't want to split hairs. One of them was obvious, and I just blew it. I just had no idea. I was like, what? But and that's like that all season for all of us. But you're right. What we're trying to do is real simple. officiating basics. We want to call obvious fouls and violations in our primary and referee the defender. And that's kind of how we kind of reset and go back when we need to refocus on what we're doing. It's a work in progress. Why is that target moving? Because you guys know those kids, man, these kids, I 15 years ago, I didn't see some of these moves they're doing now. And but they're just improving because they have more resources. You guys are a lot better coaches. And so again, and Dana will laugh at this. The kids, they stay the same age. The referees, we get older. So just like you guys get older, but your kids stay the same age, right between 14 and 18. But they're learning new things and they're learning earlier. Do you guys have any other questions or any other comments, or you want to ask us about anything that you would like us to tell the officials, or some concerns you may have? You know, we still got about 15 minutes.
Well, and I apologize for talking a lot, but I missed today's meeting with Sally and Dana. I'm going to kind of throw this at you real quick. Is there any way that Zoom meeting was recorded so that it could be sent out so that we can see it? Because I had class and I was going in and out, so I missed a lot. But with COVID going on, and this goes with there's a lot of, and I know we're having a rules meeting on Monday night, and I know there's some there's specific rules that are going to change for basketball, like no jump ball. But how's that working with when you guys are talking to the officials about how the game is going to change due to COVID? I mean, is it changing a lot for you guys, or is a lot of things going to just be the same?
It's not changing too much from the on-court perspective. Probably the biggest change would be more where on the benches and where people have to sit and kind of how that configuration is going to work. In answer to your first question, the meeting was not recorded, but I'm 99% sure that what was discussed today will be a part of the district clinic on Monday. So you'll be able to find that out. Or if you want to shoot Sally an email, she can probably give you a pretty good recap of what she talked about. But, obviously a lot of the stuff with regard to, handshakes and that kind of stuff, those are the things that are going to change more so than things on the court. The only difference you're going to see too much of what the officials are, they're going to be wearing masks, and they're going to have masks with whistles underneath in most cases. Some of them may opt for an electronic whistle, so that might be a new noise for your players and you as coaches to hear, but there won't be too many game-changing adjustments being made to the to the playing rules. So Sally will give you all that information during the district clinic, and the good news is that clinic will be a combination of coaches and officials, so you're all going to hear the same information at the same time. So it should minimize the, well, that's not what Sally said kind of thing from either side. So that will be recorded. So that way, if as a head coach, you want to share that with your assistant coaches, you'll have access to that recording after the fact as well. So that'll be good for all of us. You can always refer back.
Wait, you mentioned something about a jump ball. Do you know something I don't know?
Well, I saw in the guidelines that there is not going to be no jump ball, that the visiting team brings it in.
Interesting.
You might have just told us something we didn't know. So
yeah, I just kind of briefly went through the basketball guidelines because it's 25 pages long. I had some free time and I saw in there that there was no jump ball. It was just going to go to the opposing team. So,
if I'm being honest, Wally, I haven't gotten past the fall sport guidelines yet.
Sure.
So
Right.
We're still trying to get soccer games scheduled, but yeah, we'll definitely make sure that that's addressed. So any of that stuff that's on those guidelines that you read all 25 pages, I think it might be up to 27 now.
I didn't read the other sports, Dana, just basketball.
Oh, I thought you had all kinds of time on your hands.
The other one was that was given the ball out of bounds. The official is going to stand right next to the player. They're going to be supposedly 6 feet away and bounce past the ball to the player. From my understanding, that's going to happen all over the court. So, but I'm sure, like I said, that my concern is, like I said, I mean, there's so many things going on, like the mask. We're going to be figuring out, well, when is an official going to tell a kid, hey, you got to be subbed out because your mask is dropping? I mean, and I know those are ticky-tack things, and that shouldn't be something that officials should be worried about, but protocol says that you got to have the mask on.
And Sally did talk about that this morning in the basketball coaches meeting. And, what we're telling officials is, they aren't the mask police. Now, obviously during the course of play, masks have a tendency to fall down, and we understand that. And, an official we expect them to tell the player, just like, move your mask up, but we really expect the coaches to be the ones to take care of that. If there's a kid who's just being defiant about it and intentionally not wearing his or her mask, that's when there's probably going to be a conversation between the referee and the head coach of, player number 23 will not keep his mask on. Can you please make sure that happens? And then a report will be sent from the officials to Sally to be able to address that with the coach. So it's not, we've told officials in all sports, we don't want you penalizing the kids. This is not a technical foul situation. It's nothing like that. We want them to understand that it's difficult for everybody, and to, again, have a little bit of grace and, write it up after the fact if there's a kid or a coach, because the coaches have to wear them too, who are chronic offenders. So that's the directive that Sally's given, and that we're giving the officials as well.
Hey, in the chat, someone do a session on the rule of verticality, and actually making the correct call would be nice. Yeah, we can do one on POV, principles of verticality. I will say this, when we blow our whistles, from the stats that I have, we're 95% to 97% correct. When we don't blow our whistles, we're down in the 70s. And that's data that has been collected. So again, I wish we could say that we could get every play right while we're on the floor. But if you believe that, then you're in the wrong world, because you guys know it's impossible just like it's impossible for you guys to make every shot. And because unless y'all stop yelling at y'all kids, but I seen kids, y'all can't even run the flex because kids don't know the flex sometimes. So if kids are going to throw the ball out of bounds or dribble off their leg, I guarantee you we're going to miss a couple. So like Nate said, show us some grace again, but we can definitely do a session on POV. I have a ton of those with about 4 or 5 angles. But I will ask you guys this, Nate, in the high school rule book, is there a rule in Rule 4 definition on incidental contact?
There is.
I would ask all you coaches to, if you have a rule book, read the incidental contact rule. Please read that. And then it'll give you a better understanding of it's either illegal or it's incidental. But read that rule. What rule is it? It's Rule 4. I don't know what article it is in your book, but it's a good one.
Well, it's going to be in 419. It's going to be in the foul, and it's going to talk about. Hold on, I've got my rule book right here.
Yeah, no worries.
Yep.
Yeah, but we can definitely any session you guys want us to present, we can. I'll be part of that district rule meeting, right, Dana, next Monday?
Yep, you're the guy. So.
You guys better help out. But I'll be a part of that, and hopefully.
No, I'm off
Wally,
that.
I'll say this. Coming into our season, we have some concerns too about the COVID and the mask, and for us, it was the testing. I've been tested, and I'm already vaccinated, but I've been tested this year 47 times. I've taken 47 COVID tests.
Yes.
Now, there's some guys that have taken 100 COVID tests because they obviously work more games than I do. We can't even ride in the car together to the game. We all have to take separate cars. There's some facilities we can't shower at. So if you're like an hour away from the airport, you got to drive off. And I sweat a lot, so I'm stinky. But some of those things, as the season starts, you guys get those first couple of games out of the way. That mask is going to become like tuck your shirt in. I mean, it's going to be. We'll get through it. You guys are going to get through it, and you guys know you coach long enough that your kids are resilient, and they're going to have an opportunity to play, and that mask will be just a part of it, and some of the other protocols that they're putting in to keep people safe so we can continue to play.
All right, so it is in your definitions 427 incidental contact, and there are 5 articles talking about incidental contact. So that's actually for a definition, having 5 articles is actually it's important. It's important to know those. That's a Jack Jones thing. If a rule has a bunch of articles, it's probably important to know it. So.
And I will tell you, coaches, this, it's our job to know the rules. And we have no excuse if we blow a rule. There's nothing we can tell Dana other than we blew it. And that is our job, to make sure we not only know it, but make sure that we implement it correctly and do those things. So is there any other questions?
And Wilson, just to kind of piggyback on something you said, if you as coaches have particular subjects you'd like us to present on, like verticality, if you have clips from your own games that would help us in that presentation, please send them to us. That way we can use your examples and maybe help clarify something that might have happened in one of your games. So we're always looking for clips for training, and it doesn't always have to be officials who screwed something up. It can be where they got it right. But if you've got some examples in the high school game, because we don't always have a whole lot of that film on our points of emphasis, that would be really, really helpful. So feel free to send those to us. You can email me or Nate, and we'll let you know how to get them to us.
Awesome.
And it's funny that Dana says that it doesn't have to be, because officials do the same thing. Officials, when they want an answer on somebody else's play, they send an incorrect call. When they want an answer on their own play, they send the correct call. And so as a coach, keep in mind when sending in a clip, are you sending it in to call the official out, or are you sending it in to actually get a clarification? And that's important, because our officials are notorious, and I'm notorious too, is, hey, Wilson, check out this play. What do you think? Well, I just sent him 5 plays that I got correct, and I know I got correct. So it's easy.
Sent him your highlight reel. So
I sent a highlight reel instead of sending him legitimate plays for him to break down. And so
The training reel.
yeah. And so, just if we can keep in mind what's going to help us get better on both sides, coaching and officiating.
Yeah. So for me to close, again, teaching the step back for a jump shooter, just look at the jump stop rules and reverse it. Whether you're jumping forward, attacking the basket, or you're trying to get separation from the defender. If you follow the guidelines or the jump stop rule, you'll be fine. Yeah.
And Wilson, you didn't hit, I know we're talking about the step back, but we really didn't talk about how if you have a defender on you closely guarded and you kind of throw that shoulder or that off arm to get separation. And I know that wasn't in any of the, we didn't see that in any of the clips, but that does happen where an offensive player wants to get rid of the defender. He'll lean that shoulder on that same move. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's a foul. I was just going violations, but I have those too. And if a defender does anything illegal to create separation to gain an advantage, where they dislodge a legal defender, it's an offensive foul. Absolutely, it is. We have to have the courage to call it. I always tell our officials this. It seems like sometimes your play, what you just talked about, Wally, we let offensive players get away, even with the post. We let them get away with bumping the defender, or we let them get away with, I'm dribbling, I'm going to dip my shoulder and step back. But as soon as the defender touches the offensive guy with the ball, boop, we're blowing a whistle. Don't you think so? I mean, that's what we do a lot of time. We let the offensive guy get away, or girl get away with whatever. But as soon as the defender breathes on the offensive guy, boop, we're blowing our whistle. So we have to have a different mindset of a foul's a foul, regardless if you're on offense or defense. So that's a great point, and I appreciate that. I have plenty of those plays too. And again, the severity of the contact doesn't determine if it's a foul or not. You played long enough, and I used to referee you out here in the Los Angeles League when y'all were really good. It takes one little nudge of a defender who's off balance to get him off you, and you're cleared for 3, although you didn't need that. But anyway, yeah, you're right. The severity of the contact doesn't determine if it's a foul or not.
But I do got to correct you though. You say when we teach the step back, what if you're over 50 and you're a little overweight? How are you going to show that move if you can't even get out there and break it down for him?
Hey, just ask one of the kids to do it, and just you could just roll with what the verbiage is, and goes, no, that's not what I'm reading. But
Gotcha.
Wally, you never had to do the step back. You just passed half court and
No,
take it.
Well, because like I said, that was a long time ago, Wilson. Game has changed now. I mean, like I said, I'm just happy that I'm still coaching and have an opportunity this year, and I appreciate you guys. In all seriousness, appreciate you guys doing this. I think it's good going into the year to get different terminology from especially the traveling part. And I'm sorry I missed your last one because I had something else going on, but definitely like you guys to keep doing this. I definitely would show up and listen to some more.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, if you, like Dana said, you guys want got another topic that you want us to present on, send some clips in. I know the season is getting ready to start, and I'm so excited about it. Send them in so we can get something going before you guys are real busy taking care of your business and getting out there playing some ball. So thank you guys, and I'll turn it back over to Nate and Dana.
Hey, Wilson, it's funny that you remember officiating Wally in the Los Lunas League. I had to deal with Saul Perez and Will Benjamin in the Mearshite Adult League, and there it's no blood, no foul with those two guys.
Hey, Los Lunas League was no joke. You can ask Wally and all them cats, man. It's Paul Lawson, all of them. Man.
Wow,
Those are the fun days.
that sounds fun. So again, thank you, coaches, so much for joining us. Wilson, Nate, thank you for the presentation. Again, if there's anything we can do for you from the NMAA standpoint, please feel free to let us know. Send us clips throughout the season. And Wilson gets a lot of those during the year. Nate gets a lot of them. So we've got people who are willing to break down those plays, and they actually enjoy doing it. So that's the cool part. So if you could get us clips, send them to me, send them to Nate, and we'll get them where we need to. So we do use them. We do use them for training officials, and they're more valuable than you could possibly imagine. So coaches, I wish you all the best of luck this season. And we're glad that you have a season and that kids get to do what they love and that you all get to do what you love. So I think that that's exciting because you've been missing it just like they are. Have a good one. And again, we'll see you on Monday night for the district clinic. And if you think of anything you need between now and then, feel free to shout and we'll help you the best we can. Have a great week,
Thanks,
everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you for being here.
Thank you.